Welcome back to another Flush Medicine podcast. Nick and Tyler here. We have Molly Van Branken with the Scoop, which Tyler and I both switched our dogs to the Scoop dog food. And she is head of sales with this company. We're excited to let you guys know a little bit about what Tyler and I have seen in our dogs, and then give you a lot of the background from Molly here. So Molly, why don't you just kind of introduce yourself and give our listeners a little bit of your background.
For sure. My name's Molly, head of sales at the Scoop dog food. Love my job. Just to be able to go into work every day and make a difference in a lot of dog owners' lives and hear about it through obviously customers or trade shows or even like responses from podcasts that I've been on, which I love, by the way. But basically my job is to create relationships with kennels, do consumer events, a lot of trade shows. I'm in charge of a lot of the marketing and advertisement that goes into the Scoop right now. So I control all of our like magazine ads, our internet ads. I'm in charge of the social media, the Facebook and the Instagram. And that's a little bit about what I do.
Nice. So what brought about the Scoop dog food? How did it come about?
Okay. So the Scoop actually was started by my dad, who's a practicing veterinarian. He's been practicing for about 47 years. And unfortunately,
hold on, how old is your dad and when did he start? That's a long time.
I know, that is a long time. So he started actually, oh gosh, I want to say in his late 20s. He's like 72 now.
That's crazy. He's still practicing?
Oh yeah, he's still practicing. He runs an 8-man practice.
That's
Secondly, are you seeing dogs getting COVID? Because my dog was extremely sick about a week ago. We don't know what the hell it was.
What? No, I have not seen that.
Not even shitting you. They could not figure it out.
That is wild.
That's great.
I'll set you up on a free vet call with him.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a bad deal.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
But yeah, so anyway, we actually unfortunately had a dog pass away from a disease called copper storage disease. And we really didn't know what copper storage disease was. So we started like this discovery period of why did our dog get copper storage disease? Why did she die at such a young age? And it actually turned out that she got copper storage disease by the ingredients that were put into her food. So
can I ask what food she was eating that she got copper storage disease?
I mean, it's I can't disclose the name of the food because I don't want to hate on other companies or anything, but it is a very popular brand.
Good salesman right there.
Exactly. We can't bash the competition. We can only promote ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
So we actually started doing a lot of research as to why this happened, and it turns out that almost every single dog food company on the market puts in copper sulfate or copper proteate in their diets. And this is actually the same stuff that they use to kill pond algae.
Oh wow. Did not know that.
They use it to kill pond algae. They use it to clean septic tanks. They use it to clean porta potties.
So I actually have a pond behind my house that the city doesn't clean. So if I just take some fucking random dog food and pour it in there, clean right up, huh?
Exactly. Just some dog food in there. But it's kind of wild that they put that in there. You know, like you hear this and it's kind of like that wow factor of, oh my gosh, like what else is in my dog food that I don't know about?
Yeah. Is there a reason that they put it in there? What does it do anything?
So actually, we started researching a little bit more as to why they put it in there in the first place. And it turns out that they actually started putting it in factory farm animal feeds back in the 80s, which is wonderful for factory farm animals because it makes them grow faster. So it's a growth promotant. So they go to market in 6 months rather than a year.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's crazy.
So I used to work in functional medicine. And like this whole thing brings up that, not to take it off topic of dogs or dog food.
Yeah.
But so we had a skincare line, and the skincare line was tested in Eurofins, which is a basically Europe standard of ingredients, where American products are tested by the FDA. Well, the FDA only bans about 15 different ingredients in our skincare products, where Eurofins will ban about 1,500 products. And they wonder why cancer is so prevalent over here is because those products are parabens or mimic what you call hormones or estrogens in people. So like, oh God, we got all these cancers. Well, before you leave your house in the morning, you're exposing yourself to like 150 different toxins or more because you're putting on eyeliner, lotion, washing your hands or washing your body, all that shit. So it's just like, I believe it.
And it's
I believe it.
crazy. Yeah, that's
Like
what my mom
everybody's
says
like,
all
oh,
the
it's
time.
FDA approved. FDA approved don't mean shit.
That's exactly right. And that's kind of the thing that just blew my mind on this whole thing, because it's like there should be different standards for factory farm animals versus companion animals, because your factory farm animal is only going to live for about a year of its life, and then it's going to get sent to slaughter, whereas your dog, you're hoping it's going to live for 10 or 15 years.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
you know,
crazy.
the same thing with like you take this conversation to supplements. Anybody take fish oil or vitamin D, everybody's like, well, it's not FDA approved. Well, you don't want it to be FDA approved, because FDA will then put a standard on it that it can only be X potency, where you want it to be therapeutic and healthy. So if you're hitting these therapeutic levels, that's good for you, versus, well, I'm going to put a fucking pinch of dust in here that the FDA said, well, this is okay. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's actually crazy.
We're gonna get taken offline now, because I just went on a whole rant.
That's okay. I'm with you. We were honestly just as upset when we figured this out. And that's what kind of caused like the whole start of this thing, because we were like, that is seriously messed up that they are putting this harmful ingredient. Actually, it's funny. I have horses.
Yep.
And I was down at the barn, and I have this little bottle of caustic wound powder. And it's basically like if your horse goes out, slashes his chest on a fence or something like that, has a huge like flesh wound, you put it on the wound and it eats away the proud flesh. And the first ingredient in that bottle is copper sulfate.
That's crazy.
I
didn't realize that copper sulfate did that.
It's such a corrupt type thing. Like everybody wants everything FDA approved, or this is good, or look at these ingredients, or people brag about having the best product. Well, sometimes I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want it to be FDA approved. I don't know if I want that. I'd rather have like, and that's when Tyler and I found the Scoop.
Yep.
And I believe we talked to, is it
Alex? Right?
Alex?
Was it Alex? No, yeah.
We talked to Alex from
Gundog Outdoors.
Gundog Outdoors, because he sponsors us. Yep. And then we talked with, is it Connor or Conrad?
Yeah, Connor.
The Michigan Duck Man, I think is what he's called.
Yeah. Yep. So we talked to Connor, and then I got on and we started kind of having the same conversation. I was like, all right, I'm definitely buying your dog food.
Yeah. Oh,
Makes 100% sense.
I think it is the best dog food out on the market, honestly, hands down, because, okay, so I'll give you a few reasons as to why it's different from every other dog food. So when my dad created this food, he knew that there was a lot of dog related diseases that were caused by different food ingredients. So the first one, obviously, being copper storage disease. He's like, we're taking all the chelated coppers out. We're only doing natural coppers. And we actually test every single individual ingredient for natural coppers. Very costly, very not time saving, but we do it because we want only natural coppers in the food, no chelated coppers. So it eliminates the copper storage disease. The second thing, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, dilated cardiomyopathy in dogs.
No,
have not.
So that is actually a heart condition caused by grain-free diets.
Huh.
So just like Atkins.
Yeah. So it's like the heart.
People would do that and they fucking died from it. It's just like Atkins.
Yeah. So basically, the grain is such an essential nutrient to a dog's heart. So it requires a lot of work to pump the blood through a dog's heart. This is actually very common in golden retrievers. Golden retrievers are predisposed to this disease. But once you take away the grain, the heart works harder, and it actually like grows the muscle to the point where it closes off and the blood can't pump through, and then eventually it causes heart failure.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't know that that's actually caused by the grain-free diets.
Yeah, but I bet that facility where you're making your dog food is, what's the word I'm looking for? The FDA does monitor it. It doesn't have to be FDA
approved. It's actually
AAFCO.
AAFCO is the one that regulates dog food.
Oh, so it's so it's AAFCO regulated. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But
like
the grain-free thing,
it's almost better if it's FDA regulated than FDA approved, because then it's just like you're trying to push shit to market.
Strictly AAFCO.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
So it's, and like the grain-free thing, it cracks me up because it was like a fad. So like, you know how people go on like gluten-free fad diets or dairy-free or whatever. It's kind of like people, It's kind of like those diets that people think like, oh, grain free is the new fad, or vegetarian food for my dog is the new fad. So I got to hop on that train.
So I work with doctors, and I went to a meeting with one of the doctors, like, oh man, I'm gluten free, can't do anything. But then he orders ketchup, or he gets ketchup and he puts it on his food. I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, I can have some fries too. Like, stop fucking, dude, that's not gluten free, man.
Oh, trust me. I hunted with a dude.
He's like, yeah, but I had a salad.
It's still good.
I shit you not. I hunted with a dude that said he was grain free. And then we all went out after hunting and he got a beer.
Yeah.
Got wheat right
I
there.
was like, what is
I
that?
feel like you guys are about to hire me to come work with you guys.
Oh shit.
Exactly.
He is a good salesman. I'll give him that.
Love that.
The one thing that I loved about your guys' dog food to start is that you have every single ingredient laid out online.
Yes.
And you have it explained why it's in the dog food. Where like
Exactly.
you look at other ones and it's just like, here's your whole list of ingredients and there's no explanation for it.
And it's a lot of smoke and mirrors with a lot of places, because I mean, you could read an ingredient and I could be like, okay, I don't know what the hell that ingredient is. And on our website, we try to really break it down and say like, this is what this ingredient is used for. It helps with whatever in the dog. Like,
yeah,
to be honest,
yes. So I'll even say this, like the transition. So I'll be honest, we reviewed Eukanuba. Transition from Eukanuba to your dog food, and we're on this podcast. I'll say why we switched. Actually, Eukanuba wanted to sponsor us. Their customer service was shit. So being in sales, I don't take kind to that. So if you're going to do that to me, I'm not going to use it.
Right.
And that's 100%. So we were looking and we talked to Alex at Gun Dog Outdoors, and he's like, got to feed this. This is what I use, best stuff. And then so on down the line. But if you looked at, and Tyler, I'm looking at your dogs, but Tyler's dogs are kind of picky eaters. And when they got it,
yeah, they are.
They were munching. Eaters. They were munching down on it. I was like, oh geez. Yeah. Diesel just sits and just drools constantly. He's ready to eat.
Oh yeah, and I'd say that this is a great food for picky dogs, just because so a couple reasons. We use corn. Corn gets villainized a lot in dog food. A lot of people for some reason think that corn is terrible for dogs, and that is a complete myth. It's actually beg your pardon?
Can you tell us why?
I don't know. A lot of people think that so like cysteine and methionine come from corn, which creates taurine, and a lot of people think that taurine is bad in dog food. So there's just this huge misconception about, oh my gosh, grain is so bad for dogs. Corn is bad for dogs. Like corn is the one that specifically gets villainized a lot. And I think that a lot of people think that it's just a bad ingredient to add, when in reality,
you need amino acids.
Yeah, when in reality, it actually makes it very palatable for the dogs. The way that my dad explains it to me is like, you know how you go into a movie theater and you like smell the popcorn popping? He's like, that's kind of what dogs smell when they go to their food. It smells the same to them. It makes it palatable. It makes them want to eat it. The other thing that makes them really, really love the food is that it's made with organ meat.
Nice.
So I did not understand this when I first started working, and my dad explained it to me. He's like, Molly, you coyote hunt, right? I'm like, yeah, I coyote hunt. He's like, okay, if you put a dead deer carcass out in the field, what is the first thing that coyote goes to? And I was like,
organs,
its stomach.
Yep.
Yeah, it rips out its stomach and it eats all of the organs. It goes for the liver, it goes for the heart. I'm like, why is that? He said, because it's the most nutrient rich part of the animal, and it's the highest in protein, it's the highest in vitamins, it's the highest in minerals, and it's the most palatable.
Did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Very good. I always say, if you want your dog to have a super shiny coat, go with the pollock. If you want your dog to not be a picky eater, go with the chicken.
That's exactly what we do.
That's what, I feed
pollock
chicken.
and he goes to chicken.
Yep, exactly. The other thing that we actually formulated the dog food to do is to get rid of a lot of skin and ear infections.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Like, what do you do? Is there you looking at ingredients in there for that, or?
Yeah, so we have this saying. This is what my dad says, being the vet. He always says you want to stay away from BMW, the German sports car, beef, milk, and wheat, because that is the top 3 ingredients that dogs are allergic to and that cause skin and ear infections.
Makes sense.
Did not know that. Yeah.
So a lot of people think that skin and ear infections are like environmental, from swimming, from like being outside, that they're allergic to something. It's actually a food allergy. And a lot of people don't realize that. And so that's a very rewarding feeling when I get a call and someone's like, oh my God, I've been battling this ear infection with my dog for years. And then they get on our food. But here's the trick. You got to stay away from all BMW, all beef, milk, and wheat. And you got to take it out of the treats. So we supplement treats for ABCs: apples, bananas, and carrots.
Nice.
I'm in.
So can you ask
from now on?
Can you ask your dad this? So
she might know. She might know. Don't
you might know. You might know. But I'm just from the vet standpoint. So Lola, my female golden retriever, ever since we've had her, she's had we've had to get her anal glands popped. Like, I don't know if they pop them or whatever they do. Yeah, express. Yes, that's what I was looking for. So we've had to do that every single month since we've had her, and she's 3 years old. Mm-hmm. And so we switched to the Scoop, like I said, like 6 months ago, probably somewhere right around that time. And we haven't had to do that probably the last 2 to 3 months. So she used to smell like super bad. Like it was like, God, you couldn't even be around her. And then the past, like 2 to 3 months, we haven't had to take her in to get those. It was like literally, I just scheduled a month visit every month at the vet.
You don't do it yourself?
No.
Yeah.
And I want to get her weighed, and it's all right. I just did that. I'm not gonna do that myself. No, I'm not.
As gross as it sounds, my dog has the same problem with her anal glands, and my dad is like, you can learn to do this at home. You are a vet's daughter. Figure it out.
Yeah. But I didn't know, like, and I was just thinking before we hopped on the podcast, I was like, wow, it's literally been 2 to 3 months since we've had to take her in.
Good.
To get the anal glands. And I don't, like I said, I don't know, maybe your dad knows something that's, something in the food that maybe helped that, or
I can ask for sure. I mean, I have never heard of the food changing the anal gland situation, just because, like I said, my dog's kind of weird though. She has spurts where I have to do it every month. And then she has spurts where I won't do it for 6 months.
Okay.
But I feel like for her, it's seasonal.
I don't have that problem with my dog at all.
Yeah. Like I said, ever since she's been, 6 months old till we switched, a couple months after switching, we haven't had to take her in to get those expressed. So I just wanted, awesome. And like I said, I don't know if it's the food or, if she's finally growing up or, what it is, but it'd be interesting to see if your dad has any insight into that he could.
For sure. I will definitely ask him about that.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
But I know, Nick, you've had good results with it.
Yeah. So, I mean, Diesel, energy wise, it's always been fairly high energy, especially when we're going to train. I just think that's kind of the nature of the beast, if you will. But he seems to be, fantastic there. But the biggest thing that I noticed was his coat. It went from almost being like horsehair, like just kind of coarse, like wasn't really soft, to God, now he's super soft and super shiny. And people even say, God, what do you feed your dog? And I'm like, oh yeah, the Scoop. And they're like, the what? I'm like, the Scoop. I'm like, the Safe Dog Food. You got to go. That's the website. Go to it.
Yep.
SafeDogFood.com. We have a gentleman who actually texted us about it today that we know, one of our buddies, asking us about it, and we're like, yeah, get on it. Like it's second to none, and we truly believe that. I truly believe that. These schools loved it.
Yeah.
I would never feed my dog anything else. So I actually had a personal experience that I'd like to share with copper storage.
You ate it yourself and your hair got super smooth?
No.
Oh.
I have had that happen before at trade shows where people come up and they're like, "Can I try the dog food myself? Because I won't feed my dog anything that I don't like."
Really?
And I'm like, you be my guest if you want to eat dog food.
Yeah, go right ahead. Jeez.
But so to give you guys a little personal experience I've had. So this is actually kind of what made me come work for the Scoop was it made me super passionate about it was my dog Sage that I have. She's a black lab. She's 3 years old now. She got recruited for a study at Michigan State University where they said, "Hey, you have a young lab. We'd like to biopsy your dog's liver to see the difference in accumulation between young labs and old labs with copper storage disease." And so she didn't have copper storage disease. We were like, "Oh, whatever. Just, yeah, we're going to biopsy your liver. We're going to put her on this study. It's going to be great." And they called me right after they did the biopsy and they said, "Your dog's at 482 parts per million." And I'm like, "Okay, what does that mean?" And they're like, "That's really bad." And I'm like, "Okay, break it down for me because I don't understand." And they're like, "About at 2,000 parts per million, dogs die."
Oh shit. What's like the normal supposed to be?
So the normal for 8 months of age for a puppy, they said all the other dogs were testing at about 80 to 100.
Oh wow. So yours is really
high.
high.
They were like, "She's abnormally high. If you don't change her over to prophylactic, preventative, therapeutic diet, she's gonna pass away by the time she's about 5 years old."
Oh shit.
And I was like, "Oh shit, we gotta just make a change here." So my dad said, "You know what, put her on the Scoop. This will be a great experiment to do," because I formulated it with extra zinc because zinc binds to copper and pulls it out of the liver. And he's like, "So I'd be interested to see in 2 years what her liver is going to look like." Yeah. So we actually just rebiopsied her this summer and she was at 320 parts per million.
Nice.
So it went down.
So it did go down.
Yeah, it did go down.
Say about that?
So basically the zinc like I said, binds to the copper and it pulls it out. So it's actually like undoing the damage that it did to her liver. So now she's obviously way down from where she was. And now feeding her this food, not only is it a preventative diet, it's a therapeutic diet.
Damn, that's crazy.
Man.
Like you would never know. I mean, a dog doesn't show a sign of having the liver, the copper storage stuff disease, do they?
No, that's the hard part about this disease is that you don't see the harmful effects of it until they get to the point where they're too far gone.
Yeah.
So our dog Cookie that we started this off of, when she died at the age of 6, I mean, she got sick and literally probably 5 months later died. And she just became...
What's the sickness like? Like, is there...
She just became very lethargic, was throwing up, wouldn't keep down her food. She lost a lot of weight. It was actually really sad when we put her down. I remember she looked like skin and bones. She lost so much weight from just not eating.
Damn. That's crazy.
So it's a terrible disease because it's like once you catch it, it's really hard to turn it around.
Do you know, like, have you guys done a study like what's the percent of dogs in the US or whatever that have it? And do you have a number of that or that die
I actually have a number for labs because they're doing specifically studies on labs. So before the 80s, before they started putting copper storage or chelated coppers into dogs' foods, it was probably like 1 in every 100 labs got copper storage disease. And now it's like 30 out of every 100. So it's about 30%.
Wow. That's pretty significant.
Yeah,
and labs,
that's a high number.
Labs are the number one predisposed.
Jesus. That's insane. 30%.
That is insane.
But it's unfortunate because a lot of veterinarians don't know enough about the disease yet to really diagnose it. Because when my dad caught it with Cookie, he didn't even know that she had copper storage disease until unfortunately after she died, and we did an autopsy and then we biopsied her liver.
Man, that's...
So when you're working with the Scoop, so you said obviously you're a small company.
Yes.
Are you traveling around the United States? You're just traveling around Michigan? What's being the lead sales? What is your demographic, or not demographic, but what is your territory, I guess, if you will?
So I guess like since it's such a new company, we really didn't know where to take it. And since I'm so into hunting and I know how to talk to the hunting crowd, we've really developed a strong presence there, just because a lot of hunting people, they want to give their dog the best that they can. And I mean, I travel all over the place. Like we went to the Ducks Unlimited Expo this year down in Texas. We went to Game Fair. I've actually done a few police dog events.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
Which I go all over the place for events, and I want to go to Pheasant Fest this year.
So do we.
That's Nebraska. We want to go.
I know.
We'll be there.
I might see you guys there.
No, you're not might. We will be there. We're going.
We will be there. Well, I will see you guys there then.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I love my job. I love getting in front of people and talking to people, but I think it's even more rewarding. Like when I was at Game Fair, it was 2 weekends. I had a lot of people come up to me the first weekend. I told them about the food, told them to try it. And then it was so cool watching them come back the next weekend. And they're like, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, oh no. And then they come back and be like, that is the best food. I have never seen my dog so excited about eating, or like for picky eaters. Or I have people, we just had a 1-800 call the other day, someone that fed the food at Game Fair. And then they called and they're like, my dog's ear infections went away, or my dog's skin infections went away, or this is the best thing ever. Cause it's solving their problems.
Yeah. I mean,
and
you take this and you just look at it in terms of just bring it to real life, bring it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you having skin problems? Well, it's probably something you're eating.
Right. Exactly.
Like
exactly.
if you have an unhealthy gut, you have an unhealthy body. Like that's the whole thing. You have inflammation that hurts the body. So you have something that's whole and nutritious, especially for your dogs or humans. Same concept. I mean, it's going to help heal that dog. The body is an amazing thing. It doesn't matter what creature it is, but it wants to heal itself.
And you know, there's an unfortunate truth about dogs, is that the good thing about dogs is they're really tough, and the bad things about dogs is that they're really tough.
Yeah.
So your dog could be suffering from something and you don't even know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they can't tell you if they are suffering.
Yeah. And I mean, even when our dog Cookie was going through copper storage disease, like we knew that she had to be in so much pain all the time, but she never stopped wagging her tail. She never stopped acting super happy and jumping around and playing until the very end. So it's one of those things. That's what we have to saying. It's great the dogs are tough, but it's terrible that dogs are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
So like, let's say, so a lot of companies have puppy food, right? So is the Scoop good for, how soon can you feed the Scoop dog food to your dog?
So actually I've been telling people if they want a puppy food, we just recommend feeding our performance diet, because it does meet
is that the chicken, the higher protein one?
Yeah, the 30-20.
Okay.
So a lot of puppy foods are 30-20, just because puppies require 3 times the amount of energy as an adult dog. So I mean, even though they're just playing all day, they eat the performance and it gives them the necessary nutrition requirements that they need to grow.
Okay.
So normally
just make it simple.
Yeah,
we just make it simple.
You don't need puppy. You don't need 1+ year. You don't need 7+
we got puppy.
years.
We got 1 to 2 years.
Like Jesus.
We got 2 to 3 year dog food. Oh, then 4 to 5. We got senior, but senior is 6 to 10. And after 10, we have.
Damn.
I like making things simple. I like feed the puppy food till they're about 6 to 8 months old. Switch over to the regular stuff.
It's like the damn ammunition. Well, this 5-shot is only good for duck, but this 5-shot is only good for pheasant. You're not going to kill a pheasant with the duck 5-shot. It's like,
it's dumb.
Just make it one thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's
it's
awesome.
Marketing. It's marketing.
Yeah, because I've had a couple people ask me what we feed, and they have young dogs, and they're like, "Well, they don't have a puppy one," and I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. So
yeah,
now I have an
the
answer.
performance.
It's funny you brought that up, because Tyler, I think we were talking about that. Was it today? Or we were talking about it this week.
Yeah.
because I'm in the market to get a dog in the next year and a half or so, and I'm got my order put in. And I was like, golly, I don't know what I'm gonna feed them because they don't have a puppy formula. But now I know. Now I know.
I think that eventually we're gonna change the bag to say puppy/performance, because it's hilarious. When I go to, my dad also has a pet store in Battle Creek that he sells the food out of, but we carry other brands, and we do have a performance brands in there. And I go and I flip the puppy and I flip the performance over, and if you read the labels, it's the same thing.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
And I'm just like, that's so goofy that but it's a marketing thing. I mean, obviously puppies need high protein, high fat because they're running around, they're playing, they need that high energy level to be met with their nutrition, but it's like, why put it on a different bag?
Yeah. What are some of the, obviously with you being in sales, you're in front of a lot of people, and what's a big concern of people switching to safe dog food that you've seen in the market that you've helped them overcome?
As far as health wise, or as far as
just like helping them learn, because some people, obviously they a lot of people like name brand, right? Big name brands like, I like an Audi car, or I only drive Chevy, or only drive Ford, something like that. So something similar to that. What's something that obviously can draw people? Obviously the copper thing is huge with that disease.
God, I'll tell you my favorite one that I just hate. It just drives me up the wall. Where I'm like, well, you should try our food. And they're like, well, I'm feeding this food right now. And like the commercial had a wolf running through the woods. And like, that's like my dog.
Jesus.
And I'm like, dude, if your dog and the wolf were in the same woods together, your dog would get
eaten. Is that Blue Buffalo?
Yeah, or Wilderness.
Wilderness.
I don't even know. It just kills me.
Or the Crave, I think. That's the other one. It has a wolf on it.
I just think that getting people over these stereotypes of dog food,
misrepresentations.
I had one lady walk up to me at a trade show and she's like, well, I'm vegan, so I want my dog to be vegan.
Oh god.
And I was like,
dog. Like,
what?
They're made to.
And I'm like, okay, but the nutritional value of what your dog is getting is not the same as what you are getting. I mean, it's a totally different
we're two
different
palate. Different palate.
And so you just have to educate those people. I just sit down and I'm like, hey, this is why your dog needs protein. This is why your dog needs grain. This is why and like, once you break it down for them, and especially when they go on the website and they read about it, because the information on our website is it's a plethora of information you could read for days. And there's scientific articles attached to our website that back up our findings and our reports and everything, and just really explain what we're doing here. But I just think that the biggest hurdle to get over is the marketing of other companies, just because they do a damn good job with their marketing.
Well, and like you said, you're only 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think that the biggest part of it is just information and like knowing what you're talking about and being educated on the topic. I mean, I've had to go through a bunch of different nutritional classes at Michigan State just to feel like, and I constantly read up on stuff all the time on like pet food industry magazine and everything, just to make sure that I know the recent findings of what's going on in the industry today, just to keep up on, like I didn't know that this product had a recall, or that this is a new standard requirement for AFCO or whatever. So it's just keeping updated on what's going on in your industry and knowing what you're talking about, and always having, like, normally when I go to trade shows, I always have an answer for somebody. And if I don't know the answer to them, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to get back to you on that. And so I normally write down their name and number. And as soon as I know the information, get back to them.
That's awesome.
Great customer service.
Yes.
That
is huge.
Yes, that's the other thing that everyone loves about us. Is I'm sure you guys called the 1-800 number ever?
No need to.
Yeah, we've always talked to people that were either you or someone else.
Yeah, I mean, Ben is our 1-800 number guy. He's awesome. He will go home at 8:00 at night and answer a 1-800 number call and switch somebody's subscription while he's at home watching Lions game. I mean, it's great. And then, I mean, we've even had people call in before on like emergency situations, and we're like, it's fine. We'll just overnight you a bag.
That's awesome.
And I mean, the people that call back and they're like, your customer service is unmatched. I've never had such good customer service. And they always call and they always talk to Ben. So he always knows. It's funny because I go in every day and we type in orders together and I'll say a name and he's like, oh, they live on this street and they get a bag of pollen. And like, he just knows all the customers by heart. And he knows when they talk to him on the phone. I mean, he knows what kind of dogs that they have.
Are you selling all over the nation now? Are you going out? Are you going like to Canada? Or are you just in United States?
Unfortunately, we can't go to Canada. There's like a ton of tax paperwork, hoops, whatever that we have to go through to Canada.
Not worth
and obviously with the border being so tight knit right now, it's very difficult. So we just do within the continental US.
Yes.
Minus Alaska and Hawaii.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we ship to almost every single state. I know that we have some states that are bigger than others, like California is a big state for us. Texas is a big state for us. Obviously, Michigan is a big state for us.
What about Iowa? Iowa a pretty big state for you, or is it just Tyler and I buying?
It's just you guys.
Yeah.
No, we have a few from Iowa. We're actually getting to the point, we just kind of crunched the numbers since last year, and we grew about 300% since last year.
Oh, wow.
So, and it's funny because we're not doing a crazy amount of marketing and it's just word of mouth from people.
Yeah. Everybody that asked me, I had, so my fiance's sister, she had their dog passed away from stomach cancer earlier in the year. And when they got their new one, they were asking, what we fed. And I told them we switched to the scoop because of what we've already covered. And they're like, well, we're going to do it too. Cause obviously they didn't know if the food they were feeding, I think they're feeding like kibbles and bits, to their old dog. Which has more diseases than whatever, but now they're feeding this. And I think it, and obviously we've had good luck with it, and everybody and a lot of people in the hunting industry are changing over to it. And, it definitely makes you feel more comfortable that what you're putting in your dog is performance and, hopefully helping them live longer.
Yep.
Yes. Food is definitely the longevity of a dog's life.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. I've definitely seen that. And like I said, that's the most rewarding part of my job is people that call. I had a lady from Michigan call not too long ago that I switched over to the food, and she said that her dog has not ran in 2 years. And she said that he ran around the house like the first week that they got the food.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's like lifestyle medicine.
Yeah.
For dogs. It really is.
Yeah. It's crazy. Some of the calls that we get, the people saying like, oh, my dog hasn't done this in like the longest time, or my dog wags its tail now for dinner and like never used to really care for dinner time or whatever. It's a very rewarding part of the job to know that you're helping other people with their dogs.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Did you guys recently change the sizes of your bites?
No, the pollock and the chicken are a little bit different in kibble size right now, just because of production.
Okay.
So it's like
I didn't notice that. I didn't know that the pollock was a little bit bigger than what it was when I first got it. I just figured it was.
We reached out to the factory and we asked them about it, and they were like, yeah, it was just how long it sat on the conveyor. Like if you don't get it under the baker right away, it like spreads out a little bit.
Yeah, just like a cookie, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Cookie.
So it's just kind of like how fast the conveyor belt's running basically, and how long it has to like settle on the conveyor.
Yeah, well, it hasn't changed. I mean, it's good. It hasn't changed Diesel's appetite at all.
Oh yeah. It's still the same good food. Yeah. But I'm glad to hear you guys have been doing so well on it, honestly. And you guys do all upland, I assume.
Yes. Well, I mean, Tyler gets a little bit into waterfowl. So we're kind of backwards. So I used to do a ton of waterfowl because I lived right on the Mississippi. So I used to do that a lot when I first got my dog, and then I moved away from there, and I don't have anybody where I'm at now. But I have some decoys, but not enough. I don't know anybody down here that really does a ton of duck or goose. And then Tyler, now he got into it on kind of like the tail end of things. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm just getting into upland with my dogs.
Nice. And you have
come on to Iowa. We'll take you out for
we didn't even touch your dogs.
We got some dog food for you.
Heck yeah, I love that.
If you forget it, we got you covered.
I love it. No, I would definitely make the trip. That would be fun. Because
you said what, 2 labs and a boykin?
Yes, I have the 2 labs. So I was kind of like under the impression, what did somebody tell me one time? They're like, if you want to upland hunt and shoot birds, you bring a lab. But if you want to upland hunt and look good shooting birds, you bring a pointer.
Yes,
I would say
heard that before. Like if you want to eat, you bring a lab too, wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
But I never expected my lab to be really good at upland, and it was kind of funny. I took her out last year in Kansas, and she'd kind of hop around in the field, and then all of a sudden she accidentally flushed a bird, and it was so funny. She had like this like light click in her head, and I could see it, and she goes, "Oh shit, there's birds out here." And then it was like nose to the ground, quartering back and forth. I'm like, oh, she gets it.
That's awesome.
It's why we hunt. I know Tyler and that's why I think most people bird hunt, waterfowl or pheasant is because of the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, when you get out there, and I know there's a lot of pointers out there and things of that nature, and our dogs do, I like to call it a flash point. They're not like pointers, but there's a bird sitting still, they'll lock up for 5-10 seconds, and then they'll go in and get it. So you can tell when there's something there, and it's just it's amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Better than my dog. My dog just starts getting birdie, and I have to like sprint my ass up to shoot that bird.
That happens more often too. Than you know.
Like, like, you want to go hunt with us? Hopefully
put on your running shoes. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Especially like I would say the first 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. First 30 minutes to an hour. It doesn't matter how many times I blow that fucking whistle, and Diesel has been through hunt tests and everything, but man, when he gets on a bird, Jesus.
Let's go.
No stopping.
I'm running.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I've missed birds because I've literally been out of breath.
Like, oh yeah.
Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh my god.
I have been there. Yeah, and you guys got the real pheasant hunting out by you up in Michigan. I mean, we kind of have just like the pheasant farms, so we kind of cheat.
So we still do some pheasant farms. Like I'm going to one next Friday. Diesel was actually really sick here the last, I don't know what he got into. I can just give a quick rundown. My wife and I went to Nebraska Zoo, and I have a kennel that I've always taken him to. It's an outdoor kennel where he gets to run on an acre of land, and he's been going there for, I don't know, a couple of years now. It's been great, no problems. And this last time, I took him there about 5 o'clock, and he got diarrhea. And I thought, well, I don't know, maybe it's just something. And she said she came out, and he never has an accident in his kennel at night, but he shit and puked all over his kennel.
Oh man!
He still ate. And then Sunday, they said I cleaned it all up, and he still had diarrhea that night. But she said he was eating, so she was like, all right, well, he must just got a little something. Sunday, didn't eat, but was still throwing up and still diarrhea. So then I picked him up Sundays when we got back, and then brought him home. And then he has never had an accident in our house because we moved to a brand new house basically 5 years ago. And so at that point, he would have been 2, but he's never had an accident in our house, PYs or anything. You could see he was trying to get outside, and basically he just ended up diarrheaing all over our carpet. I was like,
oh, that's the worst.
So I knew there was something bad. Took him in the vet Monday. They did a whole blood panel on him. Everything came back. She said normal. She's like, I don't know what he has, but everything's fine. We got him to eat a little bit finally. But then we brought him home, threw up, diarrhea all Monday night after we got him home, throwing up, diarrhea Tuesday, didn't eat Tuesday. Wednesday took him back in. They ended up did a scan of his whole GI tract, his stomach. They gave him some kind of dye. Basically, they drank it so they could highlight his whole body. So he was going on, nothing lit up. Temperature, they did everything, nothing. Came home, still puking. He puked for the vet and was diarrhea there. Came home, same thing.
No.
Oh my God. I'm like, we're gonna fucking lose him. I'm like, and they're like, we have no idea. We have no idea what's going on. Bring him back in by Friday if he's still doing it. Well, we went to good old plain old burger and rice and just gave him little bits of it, and he started eating it. And then we let him go, and he still had the diarrhea, but he stopped throwing up. So I was like, all right, well, we'll go with that. So he seems to be on the mend now, but
right.
They did mention COVID. Like, maybe we've heard a few dogs around getting that. I'm like, what? Really?
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Some bullshit. They just want some money.
Yeah.
They stick the little COVID test up his nose?
No, they did not. But I was just like, oh geez. So I mean, I don't know what the hell he had. Because he didn't have a fever. Because I said, was it like this? Because I was looking stuff up too. I was like, is this canine flu? And they're like, usually have a fever and stuff. Doesn't have any of that. Like, they could not figure it out. I still don't know. But he's on the mend at least. So
well, that's good. Sometimes they just get into weird stuff and it just upsets their stomach for the longest time.
He lost 7 pounds in that amount of time, which is a lot for a dog.
Right.
It's a lot for me. Shit. Damn.
Hey, when I got COVID, I lost 10 pounds.
Did you lose
you had it.
sense of smell or anything?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I had like a headache one day, and my mom, who was vaccinated, has gotten COVID twice.
Shit.
Love it. I don't love it. I'm glad she's healthy, but I was like, yeah.
But it was so bad because she literally got the vaccine like 10 days later, got COVID. And then we were joking around a couple weeks ago because she was like coughing and stuff. And I'm like, ooh, it's COVID round 2. And she's like, shut up. We don't joke about that. And then she went in and got tested and she was positive.
Jeez.
So we had my sister's boyfriend. We went to Florida, it was February of 2020, right before it all hit. And he had lost his taste and smell, super high fever. And we were in this Airbnb in Florida, and he didn't leave the whole time. Coughing, felt terrible. Worst. And pretty sure he had it. I mean, he got tested for everything, and they're like, we don't know what you have. Well, you couldn't test for COVID at that time. So he had it. So then he ended up getting it. He had just a cold, but somebody at his work tested positive for COVID. So then everybody had to go get tested. So then he had it again, but it was just like a stuffed up nose or whatever. So yeah, he had it twice.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've had it.
Sucked.
I don't know if I've had it or not. No idea.
I feel like you would know if you had it. Maybe you're a carrier and you had it.
Can only assume that I've been exposed as much as I travel.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But all your smell and taste and all that stuff came back?
The smell is not back. The taste is back.
So like you can't smell anything?
No, it's been weeks.
Like nothing. Like pizza's cooking,
nothing.
You can't smell pizza?
Nope, that's the worst part.
What?
Nope.
Has it messed with your taste buds? Like
yeah, like certain things now just taste terrible to me.
What the fuck?
Oh, Jesus. Did you feel bad like during the time you had it? Was it like super bad for you?
I had like one day where I had a really hard time breathing, and then it went away the very next day.
Huh.
And I was like, this isn't bad. But I mean, the taste and the smell part, because like nothing tasted good, so I didn't want to eat anything.
Yeah.
So it was just, I don't know. The smell still did not come back, which sucks because you don't realize how much you rely on smell for.
Yeah.
You don't. You don't.
And once that sense is gone, take it for granted. Shit.
I burned quite a few things in the oven.
Yeah. That sucks.
Just because I don't smell it.
A lot of suppers ruined.
A lot of suppers ruined. A lot of bakery goods.
A lot more loss of
gone.
Supper life than.
That's right.
Oh shit.
That's right. but hey, at least my dogs are eating well, so that's all that matters.
Right. Hell yeah. So Molly, for all of our listeners, you want to throw out the website or the best way to contact you guys, if they're interested in learning more or whatever about the dog food. They can contact us too. But I just figured that'd be something good to put on here.
Yeah, I'd say the best place to go is our website, www.safedogfood.com. Everything's on there, links to our Instagram, our Facebook. Our Instagram is the Scoop Dog Food. Facebook is the Scoop Dog Food. Honestly, I implore everyone to just go home and check the ingredients on your dog food. That is my biggest wish for everyone, because I mean, after everything that we went through with our dogs, I just never wish that anyone's dog ever gets copper storage disease. And I don't wish that on anybody, because like I said before, it is very hard to actually pinpoint if a dog has copper storage disease and diagnose. And a lot of vets mistreat it for liver cancer, actually. So it's one of those things where you just got to be knowledgeable about it, and you got to prevent it the best way that you can. And the only way to do that is to feed a copper-free diet or a natural copper diet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Molly, we definitely appreciate you coming on. Like I said, we
awesome.
love
Thank
using
you
the
guys
dog
so
food
much.
And tons of great information. So everybody go check out Safe Dog Food and flush them and dust them.
Flush them and dust them, guys. Thanks, Molly. Have a great night.
Thank you guys so much.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.